Here we are. Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hello, Andy. Hello, Tiffany. Whoopsie, we lost Tiffany again.
Oh no.
She's having trouble. And oh, and I got a message here. Hopefully, it says I'm having trouble, that we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. Okay. So, okay, we've got people here. I'm going to, unfortunately, I'm going to have to remove Facebook. If anyone is watching it while on Facebook, go to my YouTube channel, Ascension Gateway, and you can watch there. Okay. All right. Fun stuff.
How have you been?
I have been good. We haven't seen each other in so long, right? What was it, 2 weeks ago? A week and a
Yeah.
2 weeks ago? Yes, yeah. I've been doing well. How about you? Oh, there's Tiffany. Let me get her back.
Been doing wonderful. In the Northwest, we have some sunshine. It's been so needed and refreshing, and those divine light codes are definitely coming in. So it's awesome.
It is. Welcome back, Tiffany. Okay, she's lagging. The internet is lagging on her end. All right. There we go. So annoying, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But if you can hear me, I'll say hi.
Yeah.
Yes, so frustrating.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so if you can
yes, we hear you.
Me, I'll just say hi, everybody. I'm intuitive Tiffany Rose. My internet.
Yeah, it's lagging. It was doing so well earlier. Darn StreamYard.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you went live, it just went wonky.
Okay. You need to get a new spaceship. You park your satellite right above your house. Okay. Tell your peeps
on top.
Yeah, right. Tell your peeps in the spaceship that they need to move the satellite better. Okay, we're directly
Thank you for
above
bringing
your
satellite.
Thank you for making it happen.
There you go. Yes, yes. Okay, well, hello everyone. We will get through this, of course, and we'll send healing and electronic blessings to Tiffany that she'll be able to stream without any issues. Yeah, and call on the galactic electrical engineers to help her out. Okay. All right. So, hey, Ashvin, Christine, Marie, and Kyo, 1270. Hello, hello. That's in the chat. We're going to talk about galactic updates again. And first, well, let's just introduce ourselves. Okay. Tiffany, if you could put it in the chat, introduce yourself in the chat and I'll read it out for you. Okay. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Sharon Sanana Kumara, and and I am a contactee, lifelong contactee from non-Earth terrestrials, I guess you could say. And it's been many lifetimes, I'm sure. And I started remembering my contact experiences more fully after my near-death experience, after a head injury. So that kind of knocked some sense into me, I guess, or helped me remember a lot of things. And I've been, have contact still to this day. And I also live in the Portland, Oregon area as I'm in service as a psychic medium and a new author. Yay. Book coming out next week. I know, right? Where I share a
So
lot about
awesome.
galactic experience. Thanks, Andy. I know I'm super excited. Over 10 years in the making. So hopefully you'll join us next Friday on the summer solstice and the full moon. It's a big day. Summer solstice, full moon party we're having live streaming with book launch for my book launch on the 21st. And a friend's going to join us. Her book launch is on the 24th, June 24th. So she's got an exciting story to tell as well in her second book, Wendy Rose Williams. So yeah, that's happening next week. And we're going to have some giveaways, free readings. We'll pull some cards tonight. I've got the Lyran cards out, and we'll have some fun and just share intel on what we know, a little bit about we have experience or what we know to be true, hopefully, for upcoming times. Yeah. Andy.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharon, for having me on again. And my name's Andy. I'm a contactee, experiencer, near-death experiencer. I kind of, I'm a dad, I'm a father, I'm like everybody, I'm living here on Earth and still got bills to pay and things to do, but I'm also trying to live my soul purpose and be the best version of myself. And I think part of that is speaking my truth, and that is like, hey, what they tell you on the TV isn't actually true, it turns out, or a lot of it's distorted various ways. And so I kind of woke up to that relatively early because of some of my early childhood experiences, but then kind of like fell back into the matrix just to like survive and get through life and the day to day and family. And I kind of had a reawakening. I'm just going fast here, but kind of had a reawakening. I guess it would have been like 2014, 2015 time frame. And right around that time is when I actually started going up to ECETI Ranch in Trout Lake, Washington. And so had a whole bunch of great experiences. I really like James Gilliland and met some wonderful people up there. I met you actually up there, your sister. And so everything had been so synchronistic with the people I met there and different things. And so I haven't been up as much in the last couple of years, but I've made some lifelong friends up there. And it's just kind of reminded me that like there's more going on here with our lives and humanity and Earth and what it all means. And so I'm excited to be around other people and be able to openly talk about this kind of stuff. Share my experiences, learn from other people's experiences. And, I don't know if I'm ever going to figure it all out, but I feel like when I get to talk openly about things, I get closer to the ultimate purpose. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's spot on. It does feel like that. And the more you gathered the tribe, as Thoth told me, and
Yes.
the other day, and that's another thing that we're going to do on June 21st is a meditation to meet with Thoth, and the more that we find our tribe and find people that we were connected to before, we all are here from other life experiences. We've come back to do whatever we have to do, and we know each other. It's like, oh yeah, I know you. And then it widens it helps us remember.
It does. You start tapping into like a higher oversoul memory, past life memory, maybe just your Akashic records, but all of the above. I know I met people, meeting you was like that. There's a number of people I met at ECETI and even since, where it's like, feels like when you start to live more your purpose, even, divine synchronicity is taking place where like nothing really is a coincidence. And depending at like how much you've done your inner work and how much, you know, you are ready to find the truth. Because sometimes the truth is scary. Like I've had some of these, you know, out of body type experiences where I had to face the fact that like, you know, I'm a good guy, but I saw myself in past lifetimes before as a bad guy. And that was hard to see, or at the very least, the reality that like we're not all perfect. There is a duality, and even
Right.
the difference in perspective. A lot it has really been coming up for me. You know, in this scenario, I think this is good, and they think this is bad. But this, from this perspective over here, neither one of these things is good or bad. And so, just trying to realize there's so many different layers to it. And so. Yeah.
So true. And we come, like you said, we come here to experience it all, right? What we call the good and the bad, or the dark and the light. You can't have the dark without the light, and vice versa. Yeah. So that's what all this experiencing is about.
Yes.
Which makes it so interesting, so challenging, so fun and challenging and fun and challenging. All of it. Yeah. And Ashvin, who's in the audience here. Hey, Ashvin. Thanks for the congrats. He and I were with a group. He's local, and he and I were with a group where we were sitting together, and we used to meet like once a month, or I forget, it might be longer or more often, where we do paranormal stuff and stuff like that. And at one point we looked at each other and we're like, we've done this before. We both had the same exact thought that we have done this before, been here with these same people, these same souls, and done this before. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had one of those experiences at East Eddy probably like 4 years ago, where a whole group of us had, during, you know, the night, Friday night, we all saw stuff. During Saturday, people were all kind of, you know, hanging out, doing intention walk, doing meditation, talking. And a group decided to go for a little, you know, couple mile hike up on Mount Adams, which is right there by East Eddy. And we're hiking up there, and all of a sudden everyone just like, it kind of got quiet. One of those like, we were half zoned out, or everyone was just so in the flow. All of a sudden I realized like people over here were doing light language, and people over here were doing these like sacred, you know, like Egyptian like poses, and people were doing all this stuff. And I realized like, oh my gosh, like our group subconsciously, just everybody doing their own thing. We all turned and looked at each other. We were in a circle, and it was like this like past life flash where like that same group of 8 people had been in a circle before, and like us all putting our intentions into this spot had opened up like a portal, and like healed this portal that had like, you know.
Wow. Nice.
And so anyway, I've had that same scenario where you're like, how many things are happening simultaneously here? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just in different frequencies.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, it makes so much sense. Yes. Ashwin says yes. Done it before many times, right?
I believe.
So right. And I mean, since we're moving up this spiraling, the goal is to move up the spiraling, like Law of One says, spiraling, what is it? Spiral light tunnel or vortex of light.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we're moving up. Yeah. So, or moving inward. So we come around many times, just in a different, you know, just a little bit different, but the same souls usually.
Yep.
Just a little bit different. Hopefully it brings us closer to source.
Exactly. So we're not just stuck in a loop doing the same thing. We're actually on an upward spiral where we're doing very similar things, almost the same thing, but it's in a slightly different place at a different time. And a lot of times it is the same people, but we're having a little bit, hopefully we have a little bit greater conscious understanding of what's going on. And so like each time we're looking at it a little better, and, you know, not with as much judgment, as not, you know, more just for what it is. And what I needed to make that mistake 3 times down here. For the 4th time, we looped around and I finally went over the, falling into the trap,
Yeah, I've had those thoughts. It only took me 3 or 4 times to learn, but what not to do. So I wrote down some things I thought would be cool to share for our show today, and one of them I shared with you already at the experiencers meeting, Andy. On May 30th was a big day, the day that Trump had the convictions, and I saw a vision that morning of 2 men, and there are some other things to back up that vision that I've found out about since we talked. Of 2 men, I was floating above them, and I was looking down. 2 males, I should say. Yeah, one was human, and one was human-like. But anyway, they were dressed very nicely, and I got that they were emissaries, and they were walking very quickly, kind of quickly, or maybe it was just the frequency I was watching, and they were talking, and it was a very intense talk. As they were walking, one man was dressed, they were both very built, perfectly built, tall, from my perspective, what I was looking at from floating above, not that far up, but kind of maybe 15, 20 feet up and at an angle. He was wearing a sky blue tailored suit and a white shirt underneath it. The jacket was open. It was kind of a long jacket, and he was human, light-skinned human. The male next to him who was walking with him on his left was also had a human face, but he had dark skin, and he had these tendrils around his ears. And I have to look in Elena Danon's book of ET species that I haven't for them. I've seen the ones with the tengrin with the long tendrils that she has that come like that. And there's actually a Star Wars character that has the tendrils like that. But he had these Ahsoka, yes. He had these they're wrapped around his ears. And so I wonder if he just had them wrapped because so they didn't come out, you know what I mean? Or anyway, so and he also had on a brown and black tailored suit, which was very ornate looking. And I just saw that for a little bit as they were walking and talking, and looked like they were above some buildings or walking down a walkway. It reminded me of the Starfleet grounds in Star Trek, the Starfleet grounds with in the newer versions of Star Trek with Picard, when he'd go to the Starfleet. Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
The grounds. Okay. And I got that they had just come out of a meeting. I got this information that they had just come out of a meeting, and it was something about the moon and the building on the moon or the other planets. I didn't feel it was Earth, but they were in intense negotiations. And I feel like maybe they broke down or something, or they had to go back with the corporate companies that were building on the moon. Okay. And some were being too greedy. So apparently negotiations were intense. And we already know that we're building on the moon. There's already news out there, mainstream news, that we are building on the moon. So that it cannot be denied. So Elena Danon shared information about not long after that she there was agreements made. There was meetings with agreements made with the Jupiter hub and the moon trade, and on the moon trade, where non-soul system traders that are coming, because these are trade hubs, have to pay a tax if they're non-soul system entities, if their home isn't in our soul system, and the money will go to the betterment of Earth. Okay, this is what she heard from her contacts. not the elites and not the government, but to help bring us into the new earth, moving into the renewed earth, that type of thing, moving into that frequency that we're moving into. So I also want to share that, which kind of backed up what I was getting. That's a little bit, but also JP, the Army Insider from Michael Salla, and these are the people I follow because they confirm my experiences almost all the time. JP is an Army Insider, which he doesn't show his face on there, but he's gone to many off-world, has off-world missions, and has permission to share certain things about his missions. And on that same date, May 30th, he went on a mission, and I just listened to it today, to a biodome that he felt was on the moon. Okay, and it was a biodome where they had. Let's see it right here. He was taken on a mission where they went into a biodome. The biodomes were filled with exotic fruits and plants that have become extinct on our planet, on Earth. And he said that they were the most beautiful and succulent tasting fruits and the strangest plants and insects that he's ever seen, that we don't have that here. And I wrote about this kind of thing in my book, basically, where when I was taken on to another planet, Venus, and they had the most succulent fruit that I could ever, imagine. And Yeshua told me we don't have that here, that our soil doesn't, certain soils don't support it. But yeah, so he said they had to raise their frequency in order to go into the dome. Okay. But he thinks he was on the moon. And on the video, as he's talking to Michael Salla, you hear a clear voice interrupt when he's trying to explain what they had to do to him. They gave him a pill to raise their frequency, and also they used some kind of a wand to also help raise their frequency to where they were feeling giddy. He's like, they were feeling giddy, but they took a pill. And as he's explaining this, and he's having a little bit of difficulty explaining it, a female voice comes in on the recording and says, frequency, very clear and very loud. And there was no female in the studio with them. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, so that I feel was kind of in my mind supporting what I was getting, a little bit about what I was getting, that there's talks. Oh, and I also want to share the Artemis Accords. Do you know what the Artemis Accords are, Andy? Anybody else that's watching?
I know the Abraham Accords, like Trump was doing in the Middle East. I don't know what the Artemis Accords are.
The Artemis Accords were started under Trump's presidency in October 2020. And what they are is, let me read it here. There's 42 countries that are involved, that are a part of the Artemis Accords. And it's a star fleet, basically, is what it is. Let me find it. Yeah, I pulled it up. Okay. It's they're led by NASA, describe a shared vision for principles grounded in the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. Okay, wait. It's a set of non-binding principles that guide the use and exploration of space for civil purposes in the 21st century. They were established in October 2020. There's 42 countries. They're based on a treaty which aims to return humans to the moon by 2026. We're already there. And eventually expand exploration to Mars. We're already there. The Accords establish a shared vision for a safe, transparent environment that allows for exploration, science, and commercial activities for the benefit of all of humanity. The Accords include principles such as, doesn't this sound like Star Trek and Starfleet? We're entering the Star Trek future. Peaceful use of space, transparency, interoperability, interoperability, operating together. There's that. How's that? Emergency assistance, registration of space objects, release of scientific data, protection of space heritage, safe and sustainable use of space resources, deconfliction of activities, mitigation of orbital debris, and yeah, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It's right out of Star Trek. It's right out of the Galactic Federation. It's
right? Yeah, totally. There was something else about it. Yeah. Anyway, so there's so much going on that is not in mainstream news that we don't know, and yet we're like, you know, the government isn't doing anything. You know, what are we doing? We're not doing anything, but there's a lot going on.
Well, we know for a long time there's been a slow, red pill the public. We just can't come out and say it because a lot of people's reaction who aren't ready for it is going to freak and panic, right? And I'm sure there's some, levels of groups on the planet, Illuminati type stuff, where they've done some pretty bad stuff and they don't want it to come out because then they would get exposed for what they had done or were involved with, right? We know there's lots of that kind of stuff happening. That said, like, I have teenage kids in high school. Most of just, talking to my peers at work, talking to my high school kids, most kids are like, have already crossed mentally the threshold that we're not alone in this universe. And so it ain't going to be that much longer until you realize, shoot, we're not actually alone on this planet. Just today, I was, there was an article that popped up, but I believe it was Harvard had done a review on alien life. And they, like, in this, study or research or, and forgive me, I'm not quoting it exactly here, but it was literally making points like, we've been looking so much for like little green men landing on, and being like, hey, we're here. What about if the aliens are so advanced they're already here and they're wearing human bodies? It literally like put that right out there. And so I know there's like normies that are going to read that and like, shit, I never thought of, like, if you watch Star Trek, last, or, Star Wars or Marvel, if you've had your own experiences or been, or empathic or an intuitive, you probably already at some level have had something in your life slowly wake you up to like, hey, it's not what it seems down here on Earth. That said, for a lot of people, I guess maybe it was too traumatic to think about it because it was too scary, or because they had scary things happen to them and they just didn't want to face anything that was outside the box. And so there is a level of, I think there is a level of like courage to face like, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm willing to try to learn and I want to seek the actual truth. And like, I think I've been trying to do that since I was like 4 or 5 years old. My parents were like, does this kid ever shut up? I'm like, why? Like, that my grandparents had me going to like a Lutheran church. And I was like, well, if God knew this, why did he do this? Like all my questions like dissolve. Like, why would God get mad if he made us? He knew what we were going to do. Like, why would he punish us? Like, there was just all these questions I had that like I didn't fit in the box very well. and so anyway, coming full circle, I do think more and more, we all know it's coming out in various different ways. But stuff like that, where it's on mainstream, publications that a lot of people who are not awakened or read. I mean, they're planting seeds out there, putting ideas out there. So I think you have to consciously think about it before you can process it, and
that's how I am. I'm like that. Yeah. It's something comes across that I don't quite understand. I need a little time to process it.
We talked one time in one of the meetings. I mean, I truly believe that like I know that there's, we've talked recently about like NPCs, non-primary characters, right? Like
Yes.
the video
Background.
game idea.
Background. Yeah.
And so me and my friend, we've been talking so much about this recently. Say there's 8.2 billion people on the planet Earth. Is everybody a source, divine, like human energy being? Is everybody directly connected to God? Or are there some people that are like levels of like consciousness? Like, because I told you I had an experience one time, a very powerful dream, and in my grandparents' church, they were talking about like the 144,000 that's referenced at different points in the Bible and different books. The idea that like 144,000 angels or light workers would come back to the earth, God would send them back, and they would kind of be like the spark of that would awaken humanity to like this great ascension event. Okay. And that was my kind of loose understanding when I was a little kid. And I had this very powerful dream where like it was almost like a video game, and some people, it was like how much an energy bubble around you. I just remember seeing that different people had different size energy bubbles around them, and sometimes they were different colors. And I could see that like some of the people didn't have any energy bubbles at all. And I remember kept being like, why don't they have one? And it was like they weren't alive. They were like holographic projections. Like they weren't real people. And so I know that was a dream, but it was so vivid when I was a kid. I got the sense that like, certain people, a guy, just not to make it political, but somebody like a Trump or some these big major figures that the world knows about, everybody knows, that influence things. Some of those people, and even some people you don't know, that are just a librarian or a nurse, or have these are very divine aspects of source consciousness that are in these bodies, and they have 10 times the power, 100 times the soul power of the person standing directly next to them. That is like an NPC that's not really fully conscious, and they're a part of source, they're a part of creation, but they're not fully conscious in the same way that this person over here is. And maybe it has to do with the age of the soul, or an old soul, or an over soul, or that one's encoded with, Archangel Michael's energy, or that one's encoded with Yeshua's energy, or that one's encoded with Buddha's energy, or that one's not. I don't really know. This is something I'm still trying to like connect the dots on, but I know that dream was really powerful when I was a kid, because I saw all these people, and it looked like there was, even in the dream, it looked like there was thousands and thousands of people, but there was only like, and that snapshot I saw in my head, there was only like 20 people who were actually alive. And those alive people and their conscious creation, because we are co-creators, were manifesting the whole thing. And everybody else were just little NPCs.
That is so crazy. I just did an interview, and I just put it up on my YouTube channel with Erin Webb. And we talked about that exact same thing. And she mentioned that she listened to a hypnotherapist, I guess, and Dolores Cannon had a client that said the same thing, and more people were saying that. They called them background people, but she said that it very close to what you said, that apparently, of course, according to this woman, I don't know who I don't remember the name, said that 30% of the population had the soul actuated soul that are striving to move higher up, and that 70% were, like NPCs or background, or not striving for that type of thing, and just in the background. So yeah,
I don't know what that means. And then
I
try to challenge myself too, because I learn stuff, and then you think a little bit, or you have experiences, and then I challenge myself, because I've seen it happen with other people in the community, where like, are they getting spiritual ego? Do they think they're better than someone else? Because I've had this experience, and I like, because I actually made that comment. My wife's like, does that mean you just think like you're one of those people and everyone else isn't? I'm like, no, I'm not saying it like that. I think there is really some old souls that have been at this a long time, that are in this Earth experiment right now. That
makes me think about the Galactic Wars, and how a lot of us got caught in the reincarnation loop. And I believe that that's maybe who, that could be who we're talking about, or a lot of, that. And of course the wave, like Dolores Cannon talks about, of the wave of beings, of star seeds or star beings, galactic beings that have come onto the planet to help and made that choice to be in the to step onto the wheel of karma, so that we could help each other step off of the wheel of karma, right? Yeah.
Like holding space.
Right. And it makes so much sense that why a small percentage of people on the planet maybe don't have any desire to work on their spiritual growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That they still have maybe they still have a soul, but it just hasn't sparked, or
So then I had another thought. Okay, remember we were talking about this last time, where I'd had this kind of like lucid dream / out of body experience / soul memory, somewhere in that trifecta. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm up on this higher realm, and within creation, we know creation is expanding. The universe, the multiverse is still expanding. All the, and I got the sense that like all of us.
Oh, you froze, Andy, or did I freeze?
An aspect of source and like all that comes with
you kind of froze there. You froze there a little bit. So you said you had the sense, and then you froze.
Yeah, so I had the sense that I'm on this higher realm, I'm looking down, and there was like a new creation being made. Okay? It was literally like a blank canvas. And then all of a sudden I look back, and on this blank canvas, it was like almost something out of like Sim City or something. Like there was a blank canvas, and then there was this island. And next thing you know, like me, and there's different groups, and we're picking like I'm going to pick like this is where my group's going to be, and this is where your group's going to be. And we went down on this island, and we started creating. We were like making, like it wasn't real. It was like an artificial creation. And we went down on this island. We started doing different things, building, started making like homes and villages and cities and roads, and made this big wall, and started doing some caves and did a pool. Basically, we're just creating like this space. And I thought it was just like kind of like a weird dream, or why am I doing this? And then later I would go back. I was with my guides. I would go, and then I would come back. And every time I came back, it became more real. So it went from looking like a little drawing on a paper to being like, whoa, that actually looks like an island. To like, whoa, that actually looks like, whoa, those are really people in like a little village down there. And so like every time I was going away and coming back, it was becoming more real. And it got to the point where I'm literally like, I don't know if we're on a ship or if we're just hovering in the air looking down on it. And then my guide's like, okay, you're going to go into it now. And I literally, next thing you know, boom, I'm in a body inside the little creation we had made. And there's real people going around. And I remember thinking it was so cool, because I was like really happy during this progression of blank paper to like making basically a village on an island, to having that village become real, to like one of the times we looked down, and all of a sudden there was like birds flying and little rabbits hopping around and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's life. Like we had programmed that into we wanted that. We wanted there to be animal life and plant life and everything right on the island. And so by the time we went down, and I went down, it was real. It was as real as Earth, walking around and seeing a bird fly or this. And I couldn't believe it. And then I'm taken back up, and I got the sense that this was like a created new, the island I was on one of the new Earths or new planets that was being created. And that I had picked because I was a representative for my group of people that I was representing. And that was like our village and our part of the island on one of these planets that was ours, that had been given to us. And the very last thing that happens is like, there's this connection point, and there's, I don't know if they're angels or light being comes, and it like breathes energy or breathes life to this creation, and everything becomes real as me and you.
Wow.
And so the reason I'm telling that story is because I started thinking about what we were talking about before, where there's different, you know, the 8 billion people on the planet, maybe there's 144,000 or 23 million or 2 billion or whatever that are actually real versus not. And I really got the sense that not only are we holding space, some of us agreed to come back down to keep working through our own stuff that we want to be challenged and to work through, but also some of us are old enough and are connected to enough different things. We're holding space for thousands of people that we don't even know by us being here because of our energy. And I got the sense that at the big event, when there's like the big solar flash or the big shift that takes place, is literally when we've reached like critical mass where there's enough of the people that like God or the universe or source like breathes energy and makes them all real. So some of these NPCs, I think, in the end, become real. And the reason that that's needed is because the multiverse is still expanding. And that at some point, we're going to be, I got the sense that at one point they took me up, like, this is your part of space. Go create. You've experienced all of these different levels. You know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know how to do it, you know how the ecosystem works, the environment, all the different things. This is your place to create, and it's all yours. Because there's so much void just in space that God's making more gods to keep creating. So
that's like that is so amazing. That's like the Anunnaki who have planets like we own plots of land, you know? So it's, we are creator gods. That's what Thoth said in the last channeling under the last full moon. He said, I've been revered as a god, but I tell you now, and he speaks very strongly and very loud, you are all gods. Yeah.
We're all co-creators.
Right.
Now, if you're level 10 God and I'm a level 1 God, we're still God, and you can still create things. It's incredible.
So that is, that, you know, it makes total sense. And that also goes along with Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls information. Do you know about those books, Michael Newton? He's
I've heard of Michael Newton. I haven't read either of those books, but I'm interested.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. I mean, it's kind of Soul Journey 101, but especially in the second book, Destiny of Souls, he talks about, and he was like Dolores Cannon, with this information came through hypnosis, and he wasn't looking for it. He was just working. He's a medical doctor, and he was working with people to quit smoking, you know, for weight loss or whatever they wanted to help with, or in trauma too. Then all these life between life testimonies started coming through, and then it went to being creators of recreating planets and galaxies, star systems, that kind of thing. So Destiny of Souls, and Dolores Cannon, there's some information in there about that too. But these people have these, just like you're saying, these amazing memories of that. I actually remember, and I didn't put this in my book, darn it, I forgot about it. Being a planet. Well, I did put it in the book about the water planet, how I became the consciousness of the water planet. But in another experience, I shifted into, I was a planet, and some very large beings were working on my my chakras as a planet.
Wow.
That they had been damaged somehow, some way. I don't know what planet, Earth, maybe, I don't know, but my body had moved, unless this was a galactic memory from way back, who knows, but it was it was a scary experience. 20 years ago, I don't know what was going on. And this is happening and they're talking to me. I can hear them. You know how you hear the voices, but you don't
yeah.
see them. Yeah. And they're there and they're telling me, we're going to work on this. And I hear them saying, oh, this one's really damaged. We need to do this. We need to do that, that kind of thing. And this part's, and so I could hear them talking about what they were doing.
And then you realize they're talking about you, and you're like, wait a minute, what? Like, where am I? What? That's happened to me so many times. I'm just like, oh, this poor sucker, and I'm like, wait a minute, shit, that's me.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's irreparable. I don't know if we can save that one. I'm like, wait, oh, that's too bad. Wait, you mean me? I've heard those conversations. Yes. But I can't see them. I just hear them. Weird.
I feel like I've had quite a few times where I'm standing with my guides and we're like, all right, this has to happen. We're going to do this. And I knew I just came out of like a meeting and I was like, okay, like kind of like ready, break, like a football team, ready, break. And as soon as we broke, like I shifted back down, like, because I was pulled up to, like with them on their frequency, my higher self. And then I'm like all of a sudden down in a body or on a ship or here or there. And I instantly forgot. And I'm like, where am I? Wait a minute. What? Like, I'm like, I feel like I like my higher self is very clairsentient where it just knows what to do and where to go. And it's like always has that. And I almost feel like one of the things I personally have been working on here is like when you have one sense that is so strong, it's your go-to sense.
Yeah.
You almost stop developing some of your other senses in a way because you always used that. And so I got the sense down here, like they showed me, like, because up there I know exactly what to do. I'm all over, and then I get back down and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I almost feel like they're intentionally cutting me off from my clairsentience or blocking it. So I'm forced to use other things and figure shit out.
Wow.
For my own betterment. It's like, if an athlete's training and they have a really good 3-pointer and they always shoot 3-pointers, like, hey, maybe you should go work on some defense, like.
That's, that confirms the experience I had. We do this a lot where, when I was going through my quickening, I think I actually shared it in my book where, I end up in a meditation. I'm just transported and I'm in this dark cave-like thing and it feels really yucky. I'm standing there in an opening and I see a being sitting on like a rock or something and it's just really yucky stuff around. But apparently I was going places where I wasn't wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we do have free will. And he turns and looks at me, and I don't think he was human. Turns and looks at me, and a door just comes down over my third eye. And I was super clairvoyant when I was working with Yeshua and I was working with my guides and fasting, just drinking water. I could have been a breatharian. I didn't want to eat or anything. And I had, really clear inner sight. And I'm like, wait a minute, how I can't see anymore. I can't see. And I got that same message. You need to work on your other clairs because you're relying too much on this and you're going where, dangerous places. So they told me the same thing. And now I'm more clairsentient than anything. I've been working on it where I still see clearly, when I need to, but not as clear as during the day like I was. I could see my third eye in the mirror. I look in the mirror and I could see my third eye. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
I'm sure you have, but have you done it where you go in the bathroom or, I'm assuming you have a mirror in your bathroom, you turn off the light and you have like a candle and you sitting there and then you just kind of stare into your own eyes. Mm-hmm. And I had heard people say that like probably 5-7 years ago. I was like, I'll have to do that sometime. And I think I kind of did it once for like 30 seconds. Then I was like, I don't know. I'm an Aries. I'm like impatient. I'm like, nothing happened. And I just moved on. Well, then I did it like probably like 3 years ago, like right in the midst of like, or 4 years ago, right in the midst of like the first few months of COVID, because I had time and I was like trying to figure the world out. And it's like a deep meditation. I looked at myself in the mirror, and straight up, I looked over, and it was me. And then I kind of started to daze off, like not focus. I should not daze. I didn't fall asleep. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I kind of started to look past myself, and then I found myself, I was like in a deep thought. And when I glanced back up, my face had elongated. So like I have a pretty round face, right? I don't like my face was like stretched long, and I have these super long like elven ears, and I was like, what the? And like it like shocked me. And when I blinked, it changed, and there was a full-on lion beam face. Like,
oh, now that I believe.
Like just looking right at me, looking just like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yeah, looking right at me, and I was like, holy, and I blinked again, and I'm not proud to say this, my face looked like more like a reptilian, not like a bad one, but like I it was just totally, and I was just like, what? And I blinked one more time, and then it was me. So in my blinks, every time I blinked, it changed from an elf to a lion to like a reptilian, like dragon thing.
Oh, that's crazy! Wow, I love that. I haven't done that but I've seen my face in different images, mostly human, but I've seen myself as a bald gray type being, but not with big eyes. I've seen myself as that, and my skin was more blue, and I was looking at myself laying in the bed from up above, from my mate's viewpoint, and as I was seeing myself laying in the bed, I was, as my mate, I was thinking how much I love me. that part of my mate, that part of me loved me, but I was a bald, gray type, blue skinned being. Yeah. And I had eyelashes, and I just looked so gorgeous to that part of me. That was crazy. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that until you just showed me that, or just shared that. That's so okay. We need to all do that and come back next time and talk about what we get. Hey, Robin. Robin's here. Oh, by the way, Andy loves your book. She's the author of the Benevolent.
Oh, I'm yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan. Thank you.
You'll have to come on the show. Well, we did an interview, so that'll be up pretty soon. But yeah, she's going to be with us on the 21st too. Yeah. So we're all going to have to do that. Let's do that. Hey.
Yeah.
Experiment. We'll do the fire and the flame in the mirror, and okay, Ashvin and Christine and whoever is here, and then come back next month and share what we saw. Wouldn't that be fun?
No, Sharon, I was going to tell you, when you were describing the being that you saw yourself as, because it's been almost 2 years now, I've been going out to the Beaverton meeting, the UFO group meeting. Yeah. I think maybe about 6 months in, Kira and me and you had a conversation at one of those meetings, and the next night I felt like like we were all had met on the ship together and talked or something, and I saw you as a bald gray type being with a bigger head.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
I've seen myself as a few different things, and I also know, and this is something we talked about before, where sometimes your physical human body or the essence or whatever, you can't go to some of these ships or some of these like dimensional shifts. So like I've had before where I'm taken out in order to go on that ship. My consciousness is taken out and put into like a loner body on that ship. And it's just like a generic, not male, not female, it's kind of a gray looking alien, but it's not really, it's actually different than the little gray ones that everybody talks about, because it's a little bit taller and skinnier. And it had a robe thing with like a little hood. And I was in a room, and the edge of the room became a mirror where I could like see because I was so like, where the hell am I? And I was kind of doing this like system check, like where the heck, what do I feel like? And I was like, what do I look like? And then the wall became a mirror, and I saw myself, and I'm like, am I a boy or a girl? Because it was an alien, I couldn't freaking tell, right? It wasn't obvious. It didn't look quite humanoid. And so I literally did a system check. I pulled up my robe, I looked down, and there was no boy or girl parts. I was in a body that had no boy or girl parts, just for the sake of being on that ship. And the whole time I'm on that ship and I'm walking around, because there's a different like language or different communication happening, there's these little guys that have like a communicator on their shoulder, and I have to put my hand on this little guy's shoulder as he's walking me around the ship, and my hand being on his shoulder is kind of like I'm somehow able to tap into what he's hearing so I can understand what's happening on the ship as I'm being led around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I've seen bald beings in gray robes, in a gray robe, in a gray hood and a gray robe. I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up projecting to a place that I felt was like a university, and they were keepers. They called themselves keepers of the university, and I was reporting to them about my experience on Earth, and I felt like I was one of them.
Some
And
of the
they called me a
Arcturians
different name.
look like that.
Oh, do they? Okay.
There's different groups of Arcturians that look like that, because
Okay.
me and my son both had an experience where like we thought we were later we actually said it felt like a college or a university, and they allowed us to come and look at the books because we were allowed to access that bit of like knowledge or wisdom. We'd like reached a certain level where we were like, okay, you can go read that now.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like here.
Yeah.
We wouldn't understand or I wouldn't understand a college level physics book.
Yeah. We should pull a card.
Yeah, let's pull a card. Oh, also, I wanted to share that video of the Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
If then we'll pull a card. Does everyone know about the Vegas sighting, Las Vegas last year? Apparently, it was researchers reported that it was not a hoax, that it was real. Where's the share button? Share screen button. Why can't I find the share screen button? Right. Maybe it's present. Share screen. Okay. Screen sharing is easiest too. Okay. Also share video. Okay, that's on. Okay. Do you see it, Andy?
Yeah, I can see it. Good job.
It was the streak seen
Do you hear it?
Yep.
Could you hear it?
across the sky, now seen around the world. This, as our 8 News Now investigators confirm, Metro actually set up cameras at this home where a family called 911 claiming to see aliens in their backyard. And tonight, a fierce debate is underway about the legitimacy of an alleged UFO crash. Good evening. I'm Janice Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. Our 8 News Now investigators reporting about terrified members of a local family who told police they had aliens in their backyard. Chief Investigator George Knapp here to piece it all together.
You know, as with all things UFO, the public debate is ferocious and ongoing. Was it all a hoax? Were we duped? Was it all an evil plot, a cover-up, all of the above? We took another look at the hubbub to separate wheat from chaff. The fireball captured on a police body cam on the night of April 30th was real. The American Meteor Society says witnesses reported seeing it all across the West, from northeastern Utah to Southern California. Another Las Vegas resident sent us a video of the same object recorded on her home camera.
An investigation by Next Star station KLAS.
As the story of the Las Vegas incident spread across newscasts and social media, one of NASA's planetary defense officers weighed in to say it was likely a small meteor that fell to Earth hundreds of miles away from Las Vegas. Police videos obtained by 8 News Now indicate Metro officers were among the witnesses.
One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious.
The appearance of the meteor seemingly triggered the events that followed. A frightened family called 911 and told police they had 10-foot-tall alien beings in their backyard. Officers responded to the home minutes later, interviewed the witnesses, canvassed the area, and cautiously inspected the backyard to look for intruders. One thing noticed by the officers was a circle in the soil. In conversations with us and in a podcast interview, Angel, the main witness, suggested the circle might have been created when an unknown object landed in the yard. Social media sleuths have since pointed out that the circular image has been viewable via Google Earth for more than a year. The family told us by phone they had seen suspicious vehicles with men in black types checking out their home. Turns out there is substance to that. A retired police officer fessed up on News Nation that he spent days staking out the house to see what, if anything, unfolded. What about those reports that Metro installed a special surveillance camera atop the house, presumably to watch for intruders, human or otherwise, or overzealous media? Turns out that's true as well. Metro confirmed as much in a statement to 8 News Now's David Charnes. The system stayed on the roof for days. What about the Ring camera video with the weird noise? The main witness, Angel, intimated to us the video was recorded by one of his neighbors, and the audio was from the April 30th UFO crash. It wasn't. The security camera video was recorded in mid-April, according to the man who first posted the clip. He doesn't want his name used, but says the recording was from a fireball that passed over his home in the southwestern part of the valley 2 weeks prior to the alleged alien encounter. The family declined to be interviewed by us, but members have spoken elsewhere and stick to their claims of seeing aliens in the backyard. Dozens of people on social media have analyzed and dissected the images with various claims of aliens spotted in the shadows. Police do not believe this was a hoax call, which could be a crime if done intentionally. In the fervid swamp known as UFO world, our coverage of the story was itself seen as a dastardly plot to distract attention away from a prominent whistleblower named David Grush, who stepped forward around the same time. Grush unveiled his explosive on-camera account on News Nation, which is owned by the parent company of KLAS. In spite of the local news story, Grush's story was reported by news media all over the world. Curses foiled again.
All right. So, I mean, so what do you make of this whistleblower, David Grush?
He first reached out to me about a year ago. We've been in contact ever since. He's the real deal. I mean, he had a distinguished career in the Air Force. Then he went to work for a three-letter agency you probably haven't heard of, the NGA, which basically tracks everything in space, in the air, in the ocean, under the ocean, on land. They keep tracks of everything. He has the highest security clearances in our government. And in that capacity, he interacted with something like 2,000 SAP, special access programs. And he learned along the way that we're reverse engineering crash flying saucers. And he's been telling that to Congress under oath behind closed doors. And I think they'll probably bring him back. So it's a pretty intriguing story. A lot like what we've been hearing about out in the Nevada desert for a long time.
Right.
Of all the stories you've done over decades and decades, this one's really gone worldwide.
The backyard alien?
Yes.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy how much email we get, you know. We're not done with it. We'll see where it goes.
This is not the last of that story.
No.
When I see that,
Okay, that wasn't the video I wanted to share. Go ahead, Andy.
when I see that, I'm always wondering, like, because we know that there is extraterrestrial, right? We're already there. Was that an intentional UFO crash as part of the slow disclosure? Hey, we have let them go, let somebody actually see one in the backyard. You know what I mean? Like, Was that supposed
Right.
to happen? Either by government was okay with it, the CIA was okay, or the ETs wanted that to happen? Was that literally like somebody got shot out of the sky because there's a war happening? Or was that like, geez, we tried to phase in, it was a little off, and Jimmy didn't hit the button right, and we cracked? Like, you know, it'd be so interesting to know all the levels to this.
Yeah, totally. Someone says that one hissed at him, right? And Christine says that, and Robin says, so I have a video where it shows the beans, because that kid got video of the beans, and I need to find that real quick. I thought I had found that one, but that's not it. Never doubted the story. You have a theory, Robin? Do tell. Yes, please. Well, I look for the video. Because we have, and it's nuke because apparently researchers found it to be authentic.
Yeah, in the actual video, it was like one of those ETs is standing there partially cloaked behind the fence and kind of looks around, right?
Yeah, right, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have it next time. I don't see the one. They probably took it down because there was a video that showed on YouTube anyway, that showed the aliens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see this 1 year later. Yeah. Anyway, so there's so many journalists and are trying to debunk it. So anyway, so Robin has a theory. Let's see here. I feel there were underground beings trying to escape and were shot down. I feel they stole an old craft. I feel there were a few types of beings. Yeah. Interesting theory. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, we know a lot of them are trying to flee the quote unquote bad guys because they know it.
Yeah, they didn't feel very friendly from what I saw about them or saw on video. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I wanted to share that because I saw a video and I didn't have time today to do a thorough search for it, where it was apparently some researcher who works with media and things like that with video claimed that it's the real deal of these aliens. Yeah, that kid has the real deal. Why would this kid go online and put his whole family's life and his life on the line and open himself up for ridicule and all this attention if it wasn't real, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was real from the beginning.
Same here.
Like I said, wanted to know more details.
Right.
I wanted to see the video. It'll be cool the day when, it's kind of out there in different places, and we've seen enough or believe we've seen enough, but like it'll still be cool in broad daylight when there's like, Fox and CNN are live there. They're like, whoa, it's really happening. They're right there. One day.
I with when you do a little bit of research and do a little bit of digging, you can find so much information on what is really going on. Just like I just pulled up this stuff, about the moon and the Jupiter hub, which I have memory of traveling there during my shifts, my out-of-body experiences. So things like that, you can, all you have to do is do a little digging to see, and the Artemis Accords, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's our Star Trek future right there. I mean, that's
Yeah.
provable. The rest, you know, it's hearing from other people that have their experiences. And but the Artemis Accords is real. That's a real deal. Working with NASA, and you can find out so much information just by doing a little digging. So we got to stop relying on the government to tell us what's real and what isn't. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, and that's where we got to get back to, you know, not giving our power away to some other authority figure to tell us what's real. If you go in your backyard and you see an alien, I don't need the cop to come verify it. Like I know what I saw, right? Like
yeah. And wasn't it you that said you used to live in Vegas and that the cops there will shoot at anything? Was it you that said that?
No, I didn't say that, but
okay.
Did Brian say that?
Yeah. Yes, it was Brian. Yeah. Yeah. He was at our experiencers meeting, and because the cop told that kid, the family, hey, if they come back, don't call us. Just take care of it yourself. That's on one of the videos. Don't call us. Just take care of it. But what's interesting is if they're saying it's a meteorite, where's the meteorite?
Exactly.
Where is it? You know, I would think if a meteorite hit the planet, then we'd find it. It was
based off that that fireball in the sky, you'd think when it hit the ground, even if it was, you know, the size of a brick, I mean, still it's going to leave a hole in the ground. It's going to leave somebody saw something somewhere.
Right. Anyway, things are happening. Definitely. All right, let's pull a card. Okay.
Let's do it.
Who would like the cops were just scared. I know, right? See, that's how people are. That's what's taking so long. All right. So let me know if you want me to pull you a Lyran Oracle card. Okay, I'll pull one for you first, Andy. Okay.
All right.
All right. Asking the White Lion Lyran beings for a message for Andy today. Okay. It's number 7, and it's called The Greater Plan. Acceptance, letting go, divine perfection. That's beautiful. Yeah. Let's see what the book says. Number 7. That's my life number. Do you know your life number?
8.
8? Oh,
yeah.
Completion. Okay. The Greater Plan. Our Lyran story is deep, ancient and long, traversing beyond the confines of human linear time into moments where time was once at a literal standstill. Wow. The Lyran White Lion Collective is indeed an ancient breed from the greater galactic timeline perspective, placed here to share our plethora of learned experiences with other fellow intergalactic beings such as yourselves. Through our witnessing of much transformation, we have developed a unique perspective that we feel can highly benefit your collective species, just as your experiences benefit us. One of the major core lessons from our society is that whatever life presents, there's always a much deeper wisdom transpiring beyond the surface level. Just as beyond your skin rests a universe of cells and aliveness that is constantly in regeneration. So too does your life have much greater meaning. To access this deeper field, it is imperative that the starseed enters into a state of non-judgmental awareness that facilitates for the dots of the greater story to connect and reveal wisdom. This occurs when the shadow mind stops reacting and surrenders to truth. You, dear one, are in the process of surrender, and this card comes as a gentle reminder to accept the ebbs and flows, whatever is playing out to gain the most from it. When you drop resistance to particular situations or events, your soul awareness opens up for you to understand the perfection of this moment. Know that you are in a transitory universe and life is carrying you somewhere beyond this present moment. Now is an ideal moment to go easy on yourself, express self-compassion, and trust you are in full alignment with the greater plan. This card indicates to surrender, let go, and allow the higher intelligence to guide your life path. All is well.
Well, I needed to hear that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Did you? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
A lot
Yeah.
of synchronicities.
Right? And it's got the feminine there for you too. With the lions. Gorgeous. The greater plan. Okay. Who's next? Oh, Christine, you're 7 too. Okay. Of course. All right, Christine, we'll go with you first. Asking the lions to bring a message for Christine, please. Christine Marie. Christine Marie. Number 8. Cellular upgrade. I just love this artwork. Here we go.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Cellular upgrade. Number 8. Oh, I turned right to it. Okay. Oh, and the smaller print message is the sub message. Listen, step back, and learn from your surroundings. Okay. As humans continue to explore the depths of their genetics and DNA strands, a story will soon begin to reveal in your awareness that you and your fellow species have been designed with galactic genetics. This information may shock many since there is so much false programming in your education system, but rests as a foundational truth of whom you truly are. In particular, your genetics are coded with a light frequency that begins to activate when the human vibrates at a specific frequency. This rapid vibration bursts through trauma and slave programming, allowing for the full potential of your DNA to be revealed that simultaneously unveils your greater star origins. You have now arrived at this junction, and with this opening arrives rivers of new information to reveal whom you really are. You will soon discover that you are built of intergalactic DNA seeded through the star councils and sent into this earth school to become the living embodiment of a race where multiple star races live together in co-creative harmony. This is why your earth school is so intentionally diverse, especially from the human level, for your species was seeded with many galactic races to understand how different races can coexist together in harmony. This can serve for a bumpy ride, as many of you have experienced, but the potential from this journey is universal peace, ushering in a time of intergalactic oneness throughout all the universe. Through this, know how powerful your life truly is, dear one. Each interaction you have with another human can serve as you meeting another galactic species. I love that. These encounters upload information into the alive field for how specific races interact with one another and teach future intergalactic societies how to coexist. As the cosmos is never separate from Mother Earth, so too have you always been intergalactic in nature. Begin to activate this universal awareness by finding common ground with individuals in your life. Rather than imposing your views on others, make today one of listening, sitting back, and seeking to learn from the individuals in your surroundings. This openness takes us away from reaction and guides us into compassion, which is the great unifier of all that is. Know there are times to defend your point of view strongly, and then there are times to listen. You'll find great wisdom by sitting back and listening at this time. Allow the masters in disguise to speak, for they are everywhere. Nice. Very cool. Cellular upgrade as we speak.
And so it is.
Yeah. You know what? I love that message. You might have this too, Andy, where when you're interacting with people, or like we're interacting here, or any kind of interaction where there's an overlay of, or an underlay maybe, of doing this in another reality, or on a ship, or on another planet, or whatever. I get ship, and that we're doing this, all of this, and we talked about this earlier, didn't we? We're doing all of this in another frequency.
Yep.
I'm just blowing my own mind. So, and it's just a little bit different and a little bit more, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. It's a little bit surreal because, to be so focused into our human body in this place and this time, and then all of a sudden you have that flash where it's like I'm on a ship and we're all talking. We're like, wait a minute, I keep going back to, are we on the holodeck? Is this a training?
Yeah. Yes. And I had that vision while you were talking about the NPCs, and where, and you were creating the world, or the simulation on another world, right?
Yeah.
That as we create the NPCs, and I think about my dreams and how my dreams have a lot of people in them, and I don't know if I shared with you one time where I've used this out of body experience tool where I say all illusion disappear, and then people would disappear out of my dream, and the NPCs that I'm projecting, we're all projecting this, and so if I say that here, how many NPCs are going to disappear? And there was one person that said I'm not an illusion. Just one. So it's mind-boggling. I don't know. It's just, it's mind-boggling how we are so holographic and so multidimensional and holographic at the same time.
We are, but like I said, I believe we are source energy beings, and we're very potent. And so we can breathe life into what's around us, because we're not just co-creators. We're master co-creators.
Right.
We're not level ones. We're level 10s and level 100s and level 1000s, so I keep reminding, I get disempowered at times. And then there's part of me is like, no, stop disempowering yourself. That's your human programming. Then I have to, again, balance my spiritual ego, because I don't want to think like I don't think I'm better than anyone. I think we're all one in the end, right?
Right.
But I really think that's why I said it when I saw that I've referenced earlier, when I saw you as kind of a gray being with a larger head. On that particular time when I saw that, me and you were like 2 of 3 people in a group out of 200 that were like non-NPCs, and we were leading and like educating and sharing, and like, if knowledge is power and we're giving people power to empower themselves, then by nature they're becoming more powerful because they know more. And so I mean, it kind of goes back into that breathing life into things, and
I remember talking about that when we met last too. And
Yeah.
you know, we know that life is breath. We can't animate this body without breath. Some
Yeah.
type of breath without breath. Yeah. Or breath is life, I should say. Or life is breath. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. In this body, anyway. Yeah. Mind-boggling. Okay. So Keo 1270. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We'll pull a card for you, Keo. All right. Okay. Asking the Lyran White Lion Collective to bring a message for Keo. 1270. All right. Arrival. Alignment, all is well, healing.
Ooh.
Number 27. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 27. Arrival. This is the moment you have been waiting for your entire life. Woo! To be at this juncture, in this location, at this precise moment, for a divine alignment to occur. The universe has conspired to present you with perfection on a grand level, and this card indicates that you have arrived. When we tune into collective energy of your planet, we find that many of you are actually on optimal life paths. But there is a constant desire and request in the mental field to know, am I there yet? This repetitive thought pattern has blindsided many to miss out on the gifts that have already arrived and kept individuals in a state of constant search. But when one is always searching, they detach from their temple that is always containing the universe within. We want to guide you back to your glorious self, and this begins by anchoring into your precious energy field. If you are having doubts about missing something in your life, this card carries as a calming energy to let you know that you are in a perfect situation, all is going to plan. Now is the time to drop any judgment of what is missing in order to recalibrate all sacred energy into your field. We, your Lyran family, are working with your energy body to clear any sabotaging thought patterns in order for your full presence to be anchored into the now. Know you are fully held and have nothing to worry about in your life path. An additional meaning of this card can indicate that your life force is scattered in other people, situations, and moments beyond this now. Center back into your sacred self by breathing forth all the scattered energy back into your temple. Reclaim your divine energy and make your body awareness as the main focal point of your existence. Beautiful. Yeah.
Sounds like a synchronicity.
Mm-hmm. Totally. It's gorgeous. It looks holographic, doesn't it?
The way that rainbow and that light's coming off of there, it looks like the fiber optic cable type light, you know?
Okay, so Keo says, I've seen felines in my life recently. Yay, this is great and applicable. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. All right, everyone. So it looks like we are at the end of our broadcast here. Thank you for being here. And go forth and
thank you so much for having me.
Of course, Andy. Thank you. It's always a pleasure, and I just love talking to you because your experiences are so amazing and trigger things in me to remember. Remember a lot of stuff too, and all of us, I hope. And so yes, thank you everyone for being here, and on upward and onward onto a Star Trek future.
That's right. We're already there. We just got to remember.
We've already arrived.
We've already arrived.
All right. Bye, everyone. Oh, and don't forget to join us on the 21st. We're going to have a big party.
Love already won. We're just here experiencing it.
There you go. There you go.